Oh man, you think you have a plan, and then your wife is out here. Sorry, my wife is out here just streaming all my bandwidth. But wouldn't be the first time she stole from me.
Yeah, bandwidth issue.
Right? I mean, there's only so much to go around.
I believe bandwidth leads to more divorces than money.
Absolutely, and I think a lot of this Southern California bandwidth is getting sent to Charlotte to deal with my father's cell phone. It he needs all the help he can get. Anyway, welcome to Blabbin Bout Slabbin, our Tuesday night 1 hour of freedom from our regular lives. Where Jeff and I get to talk about baseball cards, which is really all we want to do.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Thanks everybody for joining. Big Cheese, Jay's Cards. What's up? Yeah, I'm Jeff. My favorite cardboard on IG, and Chris is of course Baseball Card Addict. So thanks for tuning in tonight. Tonight we're going to talk about some of our buying at the peak mistakes in the hobby, as well as some other stuff that's going on in the baseball card hobby. So, Chris, what do you want to start with?
Yeah, I feel like we should start by just wishing a R.I.P. to opening day. We pour one out for poor opening day.
The Topps Industry Conference was this week, and among their many announcements, they have decided to streamline their product offerings, which I think is good. So they're getting rid of some of the old sets that have been around for a while, and some of the newer sets. I think Topps Fire is on the chopping block, Gallery. But yes, Opening Day is an interesting set because it's primarily meant for kids. It's cheap. You could buy boxes, relatively inexpensive. But there's also something special about Opening Day. Chris, you want to talk about the uniqueness?
Yes, I would say Big Cheese Sports. You're right. I mean, Sonic and Cosmic. We know Opening Day is aimed for kids. I don't know who Sonic and Cosmic are aimed at. I'm not sure who that target demographic is. But yeah, Opening Day is a weird set. I know we've talked about it with some of these guys before. Hey, what's up, Mike? And it's a set aimed for kids. It's not aimed for serious collectors. I hate to call us serious collectors. I called us adults the other day, and that didn't sound right either. But what's weird about the set is the best stuff in it, their best insert is aimed at us and specifically at us, which is really weird. Not yet, Paisley K. Not yet, buddy. So they have in this set aimed for kids with mascot cards and all this weird stuff. They've got these amazing super short prints that are really hard to pull that most of the people ripping it aren't even going to notice. They're not even going to realize what they have. So it's a shame that we're losing it. I know Ephus Pitch had that idea that maybe Topps will put Opening Day SSPs in another product, but then it's probably just an SSP,
Yeah, one thing
kind of loses the...
One thing about Opening Day, those SSPs that you're talking about, usually the photography is great. They're unique pictures. They're usually images that aren't used on any other Topps card, which, as you've probably noticed, Topps recycles a lot of images. Yes. Right now. They
didn't recycle this one, and I know it's probably the only picture of Guerrero sliding that that may or may not exist. Yeah, and they definitely recycle this one, which is really too bad. But anyway,
great picture.
That's all.
So among the other announcements they made at the industry conference was they promised in a month they were going to make the biggest product announcement in a generation, I believe is how it was phrased. And I can't help but think that that'll be disappointing because I don't know how you could live up to that.
Yeah, I hope it's not going to be those the mirror. No, not the mirror. What was it? Negative. I hope it's not
the
negative.
Frozen fractors.
Yeah, the Frozen fractors. We don't need that. Hopefully, it's not that. That would be really disappointing. I can't imagine what they're going to say.
Yes. I think they have way too many chrome lines. We're losing you, Chris. We're losing you. Elijah, you did bring up all right. You're frozen. You're frozen, Chris.
Yeah. All right. Hold on one thing.
But Elijah, you mentioned the WBC. Yes, the World Baseball Classic starts tonight, which is pretty exciting. We've already seen some pre-hitting bombs. But we will talk about that as we go on in the show, as we get to the end. But yeah, I don't know. Oh, Chris, you're back.
I'm back. I'm just gonna bounce from router to router and see which Wi-Fi wants to be good tonight.
All right. Well, yeah. So we'll talk about World Baseball Classic towards the end. Cards from Steve. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for hopping on.
Hey, all right.
But let's get to some cards. So, Chris, you wanted to show a recent pickup.
Yeah. Jeff and I have actually not been picking up cards very much as of late due to some Burbank show buying that kind of drained our card funds a little bit. But one card did pop up, and it popped up on eBay late. It was that holiday weekend we just had. It came up on a Friday night really late. I tend to be up late. But yeah, this thing popped up for $99. I couldn't say no. I love Topps Chrome SSPs. So this is the 2013 Topps Chrome Buster Posey SSP. How's the reflection? Let me move it over.
So much silver.
Yeah, it's tough. There's a lot of silver on this bad boy. Oh, there we go. This image is awesome. He's getting his MVP award from 2012. I haven't seen this card come up for sale since the Super Bowl of 2022. It's been a long time. So I snagged this thing real quick. If Ben is in here, I'm sorry, buddy. I couldn't let this one go by. Yeah, so these things, we talked about how rare they are. I think the print run is somewhere between like 20 and 50.
Beautiful.
Anyway,
Beauty.
Yeah.
Nice,
so,
yeah.
Excited to pick that one up. I was going to say, people have been asking me if Buster Posey is a Hall of Famer. And I think he is, personally. I know he didn't play for that long, but oh no, Falcon Sports Cards, lots of pixels.
It cleared up eventually. Yeah.
All right, hold on. I'll get up there again. All right. So I'll just hold it here and hope that at some point.
Whose
hand is it?
Yeah, whose hand is that?
That is an excellent question. I don't know. I don't think that's the commissioner. I don't know. And actually, as I look at it, I don't think it's the MVP award. I think he's getting his World Series ring. The more I look at this, because the box is pretty small. So, I don't know. Maybe the president of, it's not Brian Sabian, so maybe the president of the Giants? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love those cards, especially of guys who I think are going to make the Hall of Fame, and I would absolutely put him on that list. Yeah, cards from Steve. I totally agree. MVP, 3 World Series. I'm sure his career war is low because he didn't play that long. But anyone who was so important, they changed the rule for him. I think that's got to make him a Hall of Famer. Not, obviously, that in and of itself. Jesse, you're right. I'm working on it, buddy.
Yeah. First ballot? I don't know. It depends. I know we had a really good rapport with the writers, and that matters a lot. So we'll see.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I don't know. I think he and Maurer will both be interesting because they both had really high peaks, but not a lot of longevity.
Mm-hmm.
But both so good. It'll happen. It just may not happen right away.
Yeah, agreed.
The thing I've said about a lot of things. Anyway. Oh, also briefly, I do love those SSPs. They're really, really hard to find. I have a guy that keeps telling me he has a bunch, and he's going to get to them. I think, Jeff, I mentioned this to you. He has them in a box. He just hasn't had a chance to get there. And every week or so, he'll check in with me and see if I'm still interested and tell me, I got pictures. I'll get them to you eventually. But it's been like 2 months, and I may be getting catfished. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to go. I'm going to take this as far as I possibly can. So if I need you to come with me to meet this guy in an alley at like 1:30 in the morning on a Saturday, just
I was just going to say that if you disappear, if you fall off the grid, I'll have to to scour your computer to try to find this guy, because I'm sure that's where you'll have disappeared down that rabbit hole.
Yes, and right after you find that guy, if you can just go ahead and delete the rest of my history, that would be fantastic. I think that's
all right.
That would be the. Anyway, what did you pick up, Jeff?
All right, I wanted to show a card tonight that I picked up. It's not baseball. I know usually we talk about baseball, but it is of my favorite basketball player and my only non-baseball PC. It is a Giannis Prism rookie autograph. And as you'll notice, the grade is a little lower than usually I tend to find cards with. But if you can, I'm not sure if I can get close up on. Oh, it's backwards anyway. Never mind. It's not going to help. But it's funny to talk about eye appeal with a modern card, but this is one that really does have great eye appeal. It's perfect from the front. It's a virtual gem, 3 subgrades, 9.5 centering, 9 corners, 9 surface. The problem is with the edges, they got a 6.5 because there's a little issue with the bottom, and I'm not sure how clearly you'll be able to see it here. There's a little peeling up of the bottom edge. So anyways, that was the reason for the downgrade, but it's also the reason I could afford it. It was much more affordable at this grade. But I'm considering, just since it's a PC card, popping it out of the 7.5 and putting it in a one touch. So one of a 5.7, yes.
Yeah.
The negative 5.7 grade. It's eBay 1 of 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, thinking about cracking it out and putting it in a one touch. Any of you guys take your PC cards and crack them if they're not grades to your liking? Let me know. Let me know what you think.
AV Cards 23. You said you saw the Ben Revere tonight. Was that on eBay or where'd you see it? Because he's got kind of a cool one. I think it's something weird. It's like just a glove, or I'm trying to think of what it is, but it's not a picture of Ben Revere. I know Prince Fielder has one that's like the back of his head. But yeah, I can't think of what the Ben Revere one is. So AV Cards, let me know what's that pick, and where'd you see it? I don't know if I cracked that. I don't know. It's safe, you know. It's authenticated and it's super safe in there. Yeah. So maybe I don't know. I'm scared to crack. I don't have your cracking skills. I don't know. I would be tempted just to leave it, but I don't usually. But the pay-per-view chest labels are gross.
Yes. Yeah, they're kind of gross. You're right about that. All right, well, let's get into it. The main reason we were topic for tonight is buying at the peak, and we all make hobby mistakes, and a lot of times on YouTube and Instagram we only show off our hits, our good things.
Yes,
we've made a lot of mistakes, and so tonight we thought it'd be fun to talk about some cards we've bought at the peak and still have.
Yeah. I feel like we should point out. We're only going to be discussing our card failures, not any of our personal life failures. And we're just going to be focused on 2 cards, one for each. We're not going to get into our Gavin Lux stack or anything like that. Try to keep it. We only have about right. So if you want to hear about more of my failures and Jeff's failures, I think our wives are going to do their own Instagram live after this one. So feel free to hop on that one. It's going to go on for most of the night. Cardboard. Yes, some of the greatest wordplay of all time. Okay. All right. So as I said in my story, I did buy a card that has now lost about 97% of its value. A bit of a brutal take. So I'll paint a picture. This was spring of 2020. The world was a very, very different place. We were all in lockdown, various stages of quarantine. And some of us might remember, but Project 2020 was really taking the hobby by storm. It was everywhere. You open up Instagram, people were talking about it. You open up Blowout, people were talking about it. And just the artwork looks cool. Quick refresher, Topps took 20 of the most iconic rookie cards of the last 100 years, and they let 20 pop culture artists do their take on each one. Some of these looked really cool. Some of these had great artwork. Some of these were, again, really, really nice looking cards. But what they probably weren't was a great investment. And unfortunately, I did not realize that at the time. So I got swept up in this. They were really cool, and I couldn't stay away. There's a thing called FOMO, called fear of missing out, and it's really, really, really hard to fight against. Cards and Steve. Don't mention Kesson here. That's kind of a sore. Cool. But yeah, I mean, you see everyone talking about something, everyone hyping something. You want to be a part of it. I think it's just human nature. So I looked at the Topps 2020 stuff, and I figured the safest card to get was the biggest name and the biggest artist name. So I went with the Mike Trout card. And at the time, the biggest artist, at least according to Instagram followers and people I talked to, was Ben Baller. Full disclosure, I didn't know who Ben Baller was then, and I still don't know who Ben Baller is. I know he has he puts out a really shitty Topps Chrome set, but that's about all I know about the guy. So for $175 US, I bought this, which is the Project 2020 Mike Trout Ben Baller card. It's got fake diamonds on it. it's one of those things that looks really cool when you first see it, and then honestly, the more you look at it, like the less cool it gets. I did look at this a lot, but anyway, 175 US dollars exchange for this card. And Jeff and I were just talking about it. I looked it up. The last sale was 2 days ago, and it was $5, and that includes shipping. So that is a whopping 97% drop. And as Jeff pointed out to me, it's 97% if I can find someone else to buy it. So it's possible the last person who had interest in this just bought it. But anyway.
And let me say that also, especially if it includes shipping, they come slabbed in those one touches, so you can't send them in a PWE. So you're looking at least three and a half for shipping. So you're down to about $1.50 right there.
Yeah. That's that was a brutal hit. It really was. And I learned that, if everyone in the hobby is talking about one thing, then that's the one thing you don't buy. You got to stay away from that one thing, because the prices will eventually, they will come back down. And I know we know people that lost a lot more in Project 2020. I remember that one guy on Blowout. Remember who had that like stack of cards, and on sales, I think he's saying they were worth it was like $3 million in cards at one point, and it's probably just whatever the plastic is now. I don't know. But yeah, Cards for Steve, you're right. If you didn't buy any Project 2020, what were we doing in 2020? But this is a forever reminder to me to be careful, to think. I said before, like, when you're buying cards that cost over $100, we have to think. This isn't something you can just do carelessly, like name your cat. Like, this matters. And $100, $175, it hurts. It hurts to watch it just blow away in the wind. But anyway.
That's rough.
Yeah, that's rough. It still hurts. It hurts a little bit every time I look at it. Because you think back, it's like those things in high school that we all did that we desperately try to forget, but we think about whenever we're sleeping or trying to sleep. But yeah, also careful when you hear things like "it's safe" or "Biden lock it up." Yeah, anything can happen. Literally anything. I shouldn't say shit like this out loud, but even like the safest seeming baseball player and again, we're just one like child porn accusation from all of the cards being net zero, being completely worthless in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I mean, be careful. We're investing in people, not just people's skills, and it's a scary thing. Uber Collector, you're goddamn right. I did. Yes, that card does make a lot of losses feel better.
Yeah. Let me say that's one thing that attracts some people to vintage, because if the player is retired, especially if the player is dead, there's not as much potential harm to go to zero as there is with modern players. There's still, of course, it's still always a risk. Something could come out, but I mean, there's some awful people that are in the Hall of Fame and whose cards are still amazingly valued. And
yes, that's very true. But yeah, Uber Collector, thank you. Yes. So far, yeah. When the wins outweigh the losses, you're doing good. You're doing well, and it feels good. But yeah, it's still good to have reminders that as smart as we think we are, sometimes we can still do dumb stuff.
Yeah.
And Paisley, I don't want to hear any examples right now. Anyway, Jeff.
Well, I just want to say yes, Ty Cobb, Campbell Thomas, exactly what I was thinking of. Yes. But I'm glad that Chris didn't fall too deep into the Project 2020 rabbit hole. I was down deep in the rabbit hole, much further myself, and finally was able to divest myself of everything. But I don't even want to count up what my losses were on that. Yes, an IG Live with a gun. That's true. Yes, all those John Morant collectors out there are wondering what's going on. All right, but my loss. I didn't quite lose 97% on this, but the dollar amounts was painful.
Yeah.
So let me paint a picture for you of this mistake that I made. So this was, as 2020 turned over into 2021, it was like the absolute peak of the hobby. Everything you bought was going up, and you could sell it for more. I think it was also, I mean, the promise of a real baseball season was coming. So yeah, it was a perfect storm for FOMO in early spring 2021. And also, I want to preface this by saying Sapphire, the top Sapphire, has been diluted a little bit in the reputation in the last couple of years because of the amount of cards, the print runs that are coming out, as well as making Sapphire and other Sapphire sets. So, but before that, like 2016, 2017, 2018, the print runs were pretty low on Sapphire, and they were very sought after cards.
Yeah.
And 2019 was a little bit different. The print run was higher, but especially during that peak time in the hobby, everything was still going up. So I was interested in Juan Soto because he did not have a 2018 Sapphire. So his first Sapphire card was 2019. And as I got kind of swept up in the talk about Juan Soto, that was just coming off the World Series win, I believe. No?
Yeah, and like this is the second year where like every winter when the calendar turns to January, Soto stuff was going nuts.
Yeah.
People started really looking at his age, the batting average, the OBP, and just visions of Ted Williams were dancing in a lot of people's heads.
And the thing about his Sapphire, it's a horizontal card, which I like. I'll show it to you. Right?
Yep.
So it's
that's just a beautiful card. Yeah. It's a great image. Like pointing the bat at the pitcher.
Yep.
Like, yeah, there's tons to love about that card.
The Rookie Cup. Yeah. So one day in February of 2021, I decided I could no longer live without this card in my collection. And I went onto My Slabs and bought the cheapest copy I could find. And at the time, it was $1,250. And it's come down a lot since then, both because of, I guess Soto's perceived down year performance last year, the knowledge that the print run for 2019 was higher than it had been in the past, and just the overall card market. So the last sales on these were about $250. So it's a beautiful card. I'm glad that I have it, but I just bought it at the absolute wrong time.
Yeah, it sucks. I mean, the 2018 Sapphires were going bananas. Like the Acuna bat down is just, you have one. It's like one of the most gorgeous cards. All the Sapphires were just going crazy. But I guess unfortunately Topps also saw that Sapphires were more popular. So yeah, they just jacked that print run up. We looked this up. The Acuna has 157 total at PSA and 107 gems. So that's still fairly low. But the Soto has 230 PSA 10s. So I think we could say that the print run is at least double in 2019 what it was in 2018. And it just sucks that Topps didn't bother telling anyone that. They just turned the presses on and never turn them off. Which is really, it's a shame. It's a beautiful card. Like it has the cup, the shine is great. But there's no way of knowing, when that came in, I went over to your house just to look at it. I was really excited to see it.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to what you were saying.
Falcon Sports. We got to get one of those Acuna.
It goes back to what you were saying about not jumping in as if it's the thing that people are talking about, probably not best to jump in right at the time. And I kind of feel like I did. So it was a good learning lesson, albeit an expensive one.
Yeah, I mean, it's I was just thinking about Project 2020. Remember we briefly did hold that card number 1, the Ben Baller, the Ben Baller Ichiro. And I think the highest sale was $5,000, and now they're about $350, I think. But yeah, I mean, hype is great, but hype does not last. It stinks. But at least at the end of the day, you have a Topps card, a Sapphire card, and Juan Soto. Like it's still a second-year card, and there aren't that many of them. Do you know how many of this Ben Baller Trout exist? Because I looked it up. It's more than that Juan Soto. I think that there's about 35,000 of that Mike Trout card.
A few at my house.
I know Trout. What you said?
Said a few at my house.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I think there might be a few floating around over there too. I know Trout's a collector, but he's not that big a collector, unfortunately. Yeah. How many years is acceptable? I think Uber Collector, just the first year, just that 1 year. There are mistakes. I know Lewis Roberts Heritage in 2021 has the RC on it, and it's not supposed to.
Yeah.
But that's still off my head I can think of. I'm sure there's more because it's Topps. Topps is not Topps.
They're supposed to just get 1 year, and a lot of times what they'll do is the player will come up and they won't release any of his cards. They just want to wait till the next year so they get a full year, all 70 some odd sets that they produce to slap that rookie card on. So, yeah, it's
Yeah.
It's not ideal.
No, no, but I don't think that Soto is done. I don't think it's the last we're going to hear from that Sapphire Soto. I think it definitely has some room to climb back up. Probably not all the way, but some. I think that baller trout is probably peaking at about $5. In fact, if anyone on here wants it for $5, just go ahead and let me know.
Which
It's coming in a PWE though. I'm keeping the one touch. I got to get some money out of that thing, right?
Yeah, we got some.
Man,
We got some good feedback from other people who have had similar mistakes. Schned Sports Cards brought up Carson Wentz, who, if any of you are football fans, you'll notice he was kind of a hobby darling with Philadelphia, and now he's become kind of a journeyman quarterback. In football, they have quarterbacks go for a lot of money, and then when they fall out of favor, their cards fall pretty hard. So I hear you on that. Ephus Pitch mentioned that he picked up an Eloy Gold refractor auto at the peak.
Yeah.
He's still in the league. He may have a full season, so he may be able to get some of that back. Speaking of getting some of that back, MJR Sports Cards picked up a Cody Bellinger blue Bowman Chrome auto at the peak of Bellinger's hobby popularity, and he's fallen off from that.
Unfortunately, yeah, he has come down quite a bit. Yeah, I talked to people too. I think the most painful one I heard was Christian Posh, first Bowman Chrome Gold Auto, or Christian Pache. Yeah. For a big Braves fan, guy was very excited. And then not only was he traded, but he hasn't hit anything at all since then. Quick answer, Humble Sports Cards, you were asking about rookies. I think there is actually a date that if a guy comes up after, I think the Players Association and Topps have some sort of like loose rule. I'm not 100% sure, but maybe that's in stone, maybe it's not. But yeah, if they can hold a player back for the following year and get him and everything, you bet your ass that's what they're going to do. Absolutely. Yeah, Christian Yelich. Yeah, I got that one from a few people.
I'm there with you. Yeah. That's rough. And now it's been year after year after year hoping for a bounce back season card portfolio. So keep buying it. It keeps getting lower, but I don't know.
Yeah, deep value investor. I see you sold a lot of your Bellingers. I think that's also that's one of the really hard things to do when you buy a peak and you've got this card that you're into like $1,000 and it's not selling anywhere near there, and it's probably never going to. At some point, you just have to really. If it was a card you bought to sell, you just have to bite the bullet and take that loss and move the money into something else.
Exactly.
And that is a real hard, pride-swallowing thing to do. But Jeff and I have done it, and it stinks. But the next thing you buy with that money is probably a better use of, even if you sell it at 40%. You're better off just getting rid of it.
Right, and I think that's the way that we got to look at it. If you buy a card for $1,000, it's down. Say it's around $400. You don't see it going back up to 1,000. You have to look at it as not losing 600, but being able to put that 400 that you can get into something else. So it's kind of a tough mindset to have, but I think that's what you got to do. I see a lot of people had mentioned Kyle Lewis as well. Yeah, that's a rough one. Lewis Roberts, yes, and he could still come back.
Yes, that's right. MJP 1111. It's a sunk cost.
Truth.
We don't want to live in a fantasy land, and it's hard to emotionally sort of distance yourself from it, because we'll just keep convincing ourselves this will be the year he turns it on. This will be the year he comes back. But at some point, that money is way better spent somewhere else. I think the most painful one I got was a Tatis. A couple people said they bought really high-end Tatis obviously Tatis shot himself in the foot twice in one calendar year, which is brutal. But we have not heard the last from him either, and he's still very, very young, and hopefully a little bit smarter than he was last year. But we'll see.
Yeah, deep value investor. I think that's a great point. Yeah, when you have to sell for a loss, it still is great to time it. Like now, some of those players that are starting to get some hype, it is a good chance to try to make it back. And I agree. I think it was Uber Collector. Somebody said about prospecting should be a limited amount. I agree totally. And I found out that the hard way with prospecting. But the other thing is, it stinks even when you think you have an established player like Christian Yelich. I didn't even buy into until he was more established, and he was almost back-to-back MVPs, and I was still buying at that point because I thought he had a definite Hall of Fame trajectory. So you can even get bit when it's a player who has been established.
Yeah. And and it was unfortunately, it was a perfect storm for you because he was established, putting up crazy numbers, and on the team that you've loved since you were a kid, and they actually spent money to keep him.
Yes.
So, I mean, you felt like this is a guy you really want to be part of or have something, and yeah, it stinks. It really stinks. I saw two people say Jared Kelenic right now.
Yes.
He's a great.
Oh, yeah.
It just might be. Yeah. The time we're in right now is one of two things. It's either the last decent time we're going to have to sell Jared Kelenic now that he's killing it in spring training, or it's going to be the greatest buying opportunity of all time.
Yeah.
And I don't know which one. It's way more likely it's the first. But,
it is.
But yes, I do remember Rusney Castillo. I got a lot of Red Sox fan friends, and yeah. There's houses I'm not allowed to say that name in because it just set off. Yeah.
It's just Billy Fletch,
yeah.
Spring training, Adele. This is the year. Oh, good. I still got some Adele. So, yes, I'm hoping that's true.
Mike got reported and can't join. Well, Paisley, I mean, I didn't do it, but them's the breaks. I don't know what to say. But yeah, I probably, if you have some really nice Kelenic cards, and Jeff, I'm making a lot of eye contact with you right now. This might be the week. The next couple of weeks, you might want to move.
Bye. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, wait a second. How are you spelling buy? Which buy are you saying?
I'm buying all the way. BUY.
Oh man.
No, I'm not buying anymore, but I do have a lot. Yeah.
Every time you talk about Jared Kelenic, I just picture Jake Gyllenhaal. I think it's Jake Gyllenhaal. No, I picture Heath Ledger like clutching Jake Gyllenhaal's shirt in Brokeback Mountain, and that's what I'm picturing. It's you with that slab.
It's true.
And you just can't quit him. You just can't
exactly
quit him.
True. Yeah, and I've spoken with a few people. Yes, Astroworld Sports. Yeah, I feel like I've written it down so far. I mean, what the hell? I might as well just in for a penny, in for a pound. But he is my kryptonite, so it's easier to give advice than take it sometimes.
Yeah, I would actually say I'm really glad you said that, because I would tell anyone else that is the exact wrong thing to do. Like, I feel like exactly what you said. Like, if you say you've got $2,000 worth of Kelenics, you could now sell for they were what, $400 a month ago? I'm just hypothetically in numbers. I'm looking at percentages. Now it's maybe bumped up to like 800. Man, I would tell anyone to take that $800 and call it a day and just be like, it's done. Whatever he does at this point is done. But yeah, you are emotionally, you're tied up. You're wrapped up in this guy, and it's hard. It's really, really hard to cut that cord. I think we're seeing this is a first-person, real-life example of it's hard. It's really, really tough to move on.
He's a Wisconsin kid, so I've been following his career since he's drafted by the Mets, and I just, it's like I have such strong hope for him to do well that it definitely clouds my judgment on his cards. But it's another lesson I learned about not investing in those type of players. So already a sunk cost, but I'm going to ride it out with him for a while.
Yeah. I mean, I think most baseball fans, even like, I would say almost every baseball fan was happy for the Mariners to make the playoffs last year. You know, we root for our teams, but no one wants to watch those poor fans suffer any longer. Like, they have a cool stadium, the history of Griffey and Ichiro. We want to see that franchise in the playoffs. And if Kelenic, we want to see Kelenic and J-Rod out there together carrying that team for like the next 5 or 6 years. It'd be great. Yeah. Someone's got to beat the Astros, and God knows it's not going to be the Angels. So we need Seattle to really step up. Hopefully they can. Hopefully they can.
Thanks for coming by. We'll get on those Cubs jerseys at some point.
Are we talking like game use or just for the show?
I think he just wants us to be wearing Cubs jerseys.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it. I as much as I love Swanson, just can't do it. They have a great ballpark, but I got nothing against the Cubs. But yeah, I don't see it happening. I really don't. I don't know. But yeah, Kelenic is tough. Michael Harris is a great example for me. I watched this kid come up, but I'm like, I'm not going to put a cent into his prospect cards. I don't want to like fall for the hype. I don't want to buy a card because I emotionally want this guy to be really good. And then he came up, and we're in 2 fantasy leagues together, and I wouldn't even touch. I didn't want to soil him with my like bad luck, and I don't want to be the anchor that weighs him down. And I was one Rookie of the Year. He had a fantastic season. Even more is expected of him. I have not bought a single card of his. I just don't know. I'm afraid to get, well, to use I don't want to be emotionally entangled. I don't want the entanglement. I know how it felt when Acuna tore his ACL. It felt like someone just kicked me in the stomach as hard as they could. I can't handle that, both as an on-the-field fan and as a collector. Like, I can't have it. I can't have both.
Smart.
So
yeah, and those are the things we're going to encounter again if we're card collectors. Those are things you don't have to worry about with vintage. You don't have to worry about your guy blowing out a knee and missing a season. But that's the blessing and the curse of getting to watch the players that you collect or invest in, or both.
Yeah. All right. So Jeff, World Baseball Classic officially kicks off in 20 minutes. What do we think? Who do we like?
Well, I'm going with the chalk. I feel like the Dominican team is the best team, even with Vlad's out now, right?
Yeah, Vlad is out. Astro World, I like the tactic. I'm just sorry to interrupt. Astro World, I see what you're saying. Jeff and I are kind of similar. Like we would rather spend more money once the guy's established than risk, while he's a prospect, if that makes sense. I'm kind of adverse to gambling. Another word for that is cheap. Anyway,
so yeah, I think the Dominican team is stacked, and I like the U.S. team, and I think it's going to be the Dominican over the U.S. in the finals.
Ooh,
I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's your
Japan
MVP?
will be fun to watch. MJP 11-11.
Yep. Assuming that happens, it's Dominican over U.S. Who's your MVP, Jeff? Come on, say it. You know what I want you to say.
Well, can the MVP be from a team that's not in the finals? Is that what?
I mean, I suppose it could be.
Can Acuna still get the MVP?
Well, I was going to say, if the Dominican wins, this handsome gentleman should be.
Yeah, I would love that. Don't want to jinx it, but I would love that.
It's going to be his own.
That's Joel. It would be semifinals.
Oh, is it? I
didn't realize that they had the brackets defined already. Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, I thought it might be a seeding thing. I didn't think it was locked up. All right, SSP Joel, if you're looking at it, who would be on the other side? Like Venezuela, Japan, maybe? Let us know. I don't have it in front of me. Or MJP 11-11. Pull up the bracket, please. One of you guys.
Yeah.
I think Team USA is going to win. The offense is just absurdly deep. What?
I thought it went by seeding after pool play, so I didn't realize there was already a bracket set up. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't. Yeah, I like the Team USA lineup is great, and I think this is Trout's first legitimate chance to win something.
To win a title?
Yeah, to win a title. So let's give this guy some kind of trophy to hold
I would
up.
love to see him be the MVP as well. That would be great.
Yeah, I mean, to just add that one to the case, right? I mean, yeah, because I mean, I'm trying to think who the previous ones were, but we had that trivia question before. Only one player's ever been has a league MVP, an LCS MVP, and a World Series MVP. So only one guy has all three of those. So it'd be really cool for someone to throw a World Baseball Classic MVP, into that as well. Mm-hmm. And who knows? Maybe someone could get hot and do all four in the same year, and have some sort of like Steffi Graf style. Yeah. I don't know, World Slam. I'm not sure what you would call it, but I'd love to see Acuna holding 4 MVP trophies at the end of the year. That'd be pretty great.
So SSP Joel says Vegas has the odds of Japan versus US in the final. Cool.
Yeah, I would guess that losing Guerrero may have knocked Dominican down, but the U.S. pitching is going to be the issue. They don't have a lot of starters, but they got a lot of arms.
Yeah.
So a lot of the games might just be going two at a time. But Venezuela's got some good pitchers. And I think Dominican's got Sandy Alcantara, so he'll just probably start game one and just pitch all the way through the entire tournament. Yeah. Oh, Framber's out too? I didn't realize Framber Valdez withdrew. I got to pay more attention to the roster.
This is tough.
Yeah. I mean, it's so fast. A lot of these pitchers just don't really have a chance to get where they want to get.
Yeah, which I get, which means you're going to see a lot of 1- and 2-inning outings by most of the major league pitch rosters.
Yeah, certainly in pool play, for sure. I was really shocked Aaron Judge isn't playing. This really seemed like something right up his alley. Yeah. All right, here we go. Cuba, Italy, Panama, Japan, Korea, Australia, China, Czech Republic. Oh, my God. So Venezuela's on the same side. So U.S., Dominican, Venezuela, Puerto Rico. Holy shit. Man. So, Japan is a fairly easy road. And those guys have been preparing for this thing for 6 months. Like all those pitchers are going to be ready.
Yeah, maybe Cuba, Japan.
Yeah, I think they have definitely met in this tournament before. So that would not be surprising. Yeah, I don't really. I mean, Korea usually has a pretty good team too. But yeah, damn, yeah, the other side of the bracket is pretty fucking rough. Whew. Yeah, I'm excited to watch that first game tonight, and yeah, God knows. We put enough effort into changing our cable company just so I could watch this damn thing. Yeah, SSP Joel. I don't think Alvarez. I know Alvarez is not playing because he had that hand issue. I'm not sure who Cuba's playing, or who will be on Cuba's team. But then again, we might not know who they are anyway. I'm not sure any major playing with them. I don't know.
All right. Well, before we go, Chris, why don't you talk about what we're going to talk about next week? We've got a special episode to talk about something that we've been both talking about quite a bit over the last several months.
That's what it is for MVP. Hey, listen, I mean, Chinese Taipei usually has a really good little league team.
Yeah.
Definitely a really good little league team.
And their little league team.
They may. They really may. I think that the mound distance might be an issue for them, and probably the base distance as well. But, I mean, I don't think you could rule anyone out. Because I think that wasn't the first year, like Japan over South Korea. I could be wrong, but I think that's with Ichiro getting a game-winning hit in the end extra innings. That all sounds right. So, yeah, next week we want to talk about some SSPs. Arguably my favorite topic of conversation. Not great pillow talk, by the way, if anyone out there is interested. Definitely not a way to get your partner in the mood. Even if you mess around with the acronym, it's not going to work. She's going to know what you're getting at. But also, at the end of the month, at the end of March, one of Jeff and my favorite products comes out. They're finally going to release Stadium Club Chrome. So we wanted to just sort of mention tentatively we had a plan, what we wanted to do. We wanted to get a couple boxes, and he and I will be here doing a live rip, and we thought anyone in here that wants to do it with us, like get a box, we'll rip at the same time, and if you get a card that looks cool, like get a nice auto or a good color refractor, like let us know, and hop on the live and show us the card. Like we'd love to see what this stuff looks like. The imagery in this set, the photography is usually gorgeous, the color refractors are great. They're going to have the 91s, probably some 92 designs. Like the cards are going to be great. So we're really hoping we could do like a live break with a bunch of people. But we'll keep talking about that as we go. I'm not sure what exact day of the week it comes out. Probably the least convenient day. If I had to get.
A lot of times it comes out Tuesday, but
yeah, Tuesday would be great. Then we could do it tonight. But yeah, we'll keep you in the loop on that. We'll try to put some information up on our stories and on our page. But I just think that'd be really fun because, Jeff and I will open a few boxes and not get anything that we want to look at. But if 10 of us or 12 of us are on here opening boxes, maybe we'll actually see some cool cards. Get sort of like almost a full case between all. Yeah, so I think that would be fun. But next week we're going to talk about SSPs.
Yeah.
We'll do a little history lesson, when they started, what some of the first ones were. Yeah, it should be interesting. Steven Strasburg has one of the greatest tops SSPs of all time. I highly recommend everyone Google that and take a look. It's absolutely fantastic. I was going to try to buy one, but they're just too expensive, despite the fact that I've thrown as many Major League Baseball pitches in the last 3 years as he has.
Uh,
Oh, I think I'm sorry. We have a Mike Chang sighting. I don't know. We're not talking about knives, buddy. So you might not enjoy this as much. But anyway, yeah. So that's all we
Also,
got.
I just wanted to say we do have a new video up on our YouTube page. Thank you everybody who's checked out our YouTube channel and subscribed. It's been great. Our channel is Blabbin Bout Slabbin. You can just search Blabbin Bout Slabbin and you'll find us. We just put a new video up today about our recent crossover attempt. So if you want to see how we did, please check out the video on YouTube, Blabbin Bout Slabbin. And yeah, that's all we've got.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. There's always that that sort of analogy, like you give like a million monkeys, a million typewriters, and they'll come up with a greatest book. We really thought when we got on YouTube, there would be other people using the word blabbin or slabbin, but neither of those words are absolutely anywhere on YouTube. So we should be fairly easy to find if you want to find us. That is really the only. You're not going to stumble onto it accidentally, unfortunately.
Lowdown. Thank you for watching the short videos, and we're going to keep putting more up. So much appreciated.
Oh, and I just want to also say to Jesse Lowdown, I'm sorry, buddy, that Clearly Authentic was on the chopping block. So there will be no more clear plastic autos coming out of Tops. Yeah. So maybe that means your Max Muncy will go up in value.
Yeah. A rarity.
Yeah, it could be a rarity. I don't know. We'll see.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. Check out our YouTube page, and we'll see you all next week.
Yep.
Thank you.